feeling of being indispensable, of knowing that without you, something would fall apart. That is the kind of pride we often find in ourselves. But let us take a closer look at this sentiment and peel back its layers to reveal the underlying truth. Your usefulness is not a badge of honor, but a trap. Imagine yourself as a cog in a grand machine. Each part has its function, its purpose. You are a well-oiled gear, turning without pause, because if you stop, the entire mechanism falters. This is what it means to be useful, but being indispensable also means that you are disposable. Once your utility wanes, once you become less efficient or effective, what then? Will you still feel valued? Or will you simply be set aside, no longer necessary? The concept of usefulness carries with it a profound sense of servitude. When you define yourself by the tasks and roles you fulfill for others, you are not free. You are bound to their needs, expectations, desires. Your identity is entwined with your utility, and in this entanglement lies an internal void. It's as if you've built a life around serving external demands without ever considering what serves you internally. Consider the example of a dedicated employee who works tirelessly for her company, always putting in extra hours, taking on additional responsibilities. She is praised for being indispensable until she requests a day off to attend to personal matters or seeks a promotion that would reduce her workload. Suddenly, her indispensability becomes irrelevant. The machine grinds on without her. But why does this matter? Why should we care about the distinction between usefulness and human dignity? The moment you stop seeing yourself as useful is the moment you begin to see yourself as truly human. When your identity no longer hinges upon what others need from you, but rather upon who you are independent of external validation or expectation, you reclaim a sense of autonomy that can be profoundly liberating. Think about artists and philosophers throughout history, figures like Van Gogh, Nietzsche, Socrates, who were often deemed impractical, useless even. Yet their contributions have shaped our understanding of the world in ways that practical utility could never measure. These individuals pursued knowledge and creation for its own sake, not because it was a means to an end. To be useful is to be managed, mined, and eventually discarded when you are no longer needed. To be human is to exist beyond these constraints, to live with the freedom of one's own purpose, rather than one imposed by others. In this chapter, we challenge the notion that being indispensable equates to value or happiness. We explore how defining yourself solely through your utility leads to a life devoid of meaning and fulfillment on an intrinsic level. You are more than a tool, more than a resource for someone else's needs. It is time to break free from the tyranny of usefulness and embrace what it means to be truly human. Throughout human history, societies have often valued individuals based on their utility and contribution to collective goals. This paradigm is evident in various historical contexts, such as the Industrial Revolution, when workers were viewed primarily through the lens of productivity and economic output. During this period, the intrinsic worth of a person was frequently overshadowed by their capacity to meet labor demands, leading to dehumanizing conditions that stifled creativity and individuality. The concept of being useful versus being human extends beyond tangible contributions like labor. It also encompasses intangible aspects, such as emotional support, intellectual engagement, and artistic expression. For instance, consider the life of Vincent van Gogh, a painter who struggled with severe mental health issues, but produced some of the most iconic artworks in history. While he was often seen as an impractical figure during his lifetime, his work continues to resonate deeply with audiences worldwide, proving that value can be derived from personal expression rather than immediate utility. Similarly, ancient philosophers like Socrates and Nietzsche challenged prevailing norms by questioning the nature of existence and morality through thought experiments and discourses. Their ideas may not have provided direct solutions, but spurred intellectual curiosity and profound shifts in societal values. By prioritizing self-discovery and philosophical inquiry over pragmatic concerns, these thinkers exemplified the importance of pursuing knowledge for its own sake. In contemporary times, The digital age has intensified the pressure to be perpetually useful. Social media platforms thrive on constant engagement, fostering an environment where users feel compelled to present a curated image of their lives that aligns with societal expectations and norms. This phenomenon not only reinforces the notion that one's worth is tied to external validation, but also contributes to mental health issues, such as anxiety and depression, among individuals who struggle to meet these unattainable standards. Furthermore, modern workplace dynamics often prioritize efficiency and productivity over employee well-being. The rise of gig economies and remote work arrangements has blurred the boundaries between personal life and professional obligations, further blurring the line between being useful and being human. Employees frequently find themselves caught in a cycle of constant availability, sacrificing leisure time, creativity, and self-care to maintain their perceived value within organizations. The implications of defining oneself solely through utility extend beyond individual well-being. They also affect societal progress. When people are valued primarily for their contributions rather than their inherent worth as individuals, it becomes challenging to foster innovation and creativity that require nonconformist thinking. Breakthrough ideas often emerge from questioning established norms and exploring uncharted territories, activities that may initially seem impractical or counterproductive. To break free from the tyranny of usefulness requires a shift in perspective, one where self-worth is rooted in intrinsic qualities rather than external achievements. This transformation involves acknowledging personal strengths beyond traditional measures of success, embracing vulnerability, and engaging in activities that align with one's passions and values, regardless of societal validation. By doing so, individuals not only reclaim their autonomy, but also contribute to a more empathetic and compassionate society. Moreover, it is crucial to recognize that the pursuit of intrinsic value does not preclude contributing to others or making meaningful impacts. Rather, it shifts the focus from being managed resources to active participants in shaping one's life narrative. This perspective acknowledges that true fulfillment often stems from aligning personal aspirations with communal well-being without losing sight of individual dignity. Ultimately, transcending the notion of indispensability is about embracing a holistic view of humanity, one that celebrates diversity, resilience, and creativity beyond pragmatic constraints. It invites us to redefine success on terms that honor our unique identities and pursuits, fostering a world where every individual can flourish authentically and contribute meaningfully without compromising their inherent worth. The concept of indispensability is deeply ingrained in our society, often seen as an honor or a badge of pride. However, when we peel back this layer of perception, it reveals itself to be a trap, a subtle yet powerful mechanism that keeps us tethered to the expectations and demands of others. Being indispensable means you are useful, but usefulness implies dependency, predictability, and ultimately, disposability. This idea is rooted in a long history of labor theory and economic philosophy. Karl Marx famously critiqued capitalist systems for reducing human beings into mere cogs within an industrial machine, their value measured solely by productivity and output. The more useful you are to the system, the less you retain control over your own life and autonomy. In contemporary society, this dynamic manifests in various ways, through job roles where employees feel pressured to be on call 24/7 or constantly available to meet business demands, through social expectations that equate worth with constant productivity and contribution. The irony is stark. The more indispensable you make yourself, the less free you are. Nuccio Ordine argues that being useful is a form of self-deception. It's an illusion of control and significance built on the foundation of perpetual servitude to external needs and desires. When your identity hinges upon usefulness, it erodes your capacity for genuine connection, creativity, and personal fulfillment. You become defined not by who you are or what you value, but by how much utility you provide to others. This is evident in countless domains. the employee who defines their self-worth by their performance reviews, the friend whose relationship feels strained when they're not contributing something of perceived value, the artist who sees their worth only through the success and recognition of their work. The more we wrap our sense of identity around usefulness, the deeper we sink into a state of existential poverty. The paradox is that true fulfillment and genuine happiness often arise from moments of non-utility, when you're not actively serving someone else's agenda or expectation. It's in these quiet spaces where your humanity can breathe freely, unburdened by external demands and obligations. Consider the artist who spends countless hours painting a single piece because it resonates deeply with their soul, rather than churning out works to meet market expectations. Or the writer who loses themselves in a book, simply for the joy of exploration and discovery, not just for the accolades or sales figures that might come later. These are moments of true presence and connection, where the essence of being human shines through beyond mere utility. It's recognizing that your value lies not just in what you do, but who you are as a complex, multifaceted individual with desires, dreams, and needs that extend far beyond the realm of usefulness. The trap of indispensability is insidious because it's wrapped up in a narrative of selflessness and contribution. We're taught from an early age to find value in serving others, which can feel noble and virtuous. But when this service becomes compulsive and defines your entire existence, it strips you of the very essence of being human, your autonomy, creativity, and capacity for joy. To break free from this trap requires a shift in perspective, the recognition that true fulfillment is not found in being indispensable, but rather in living authentically. It's about reclaiming the parts of yourself that don't fit neatly into boxes of usefulness or productivity. This doesn't mean abandoning responsibility or contribution. It means doing so on your own terms, with a clear sense of why you're choosing to serve and how it aligns with your deepest values, rather than external pressures. It's about finding the balance between being useful when you want to be and prioritizing self-care, exploration, and personal growth. Ultimately, transcending indispensability is not just about rejecting utility, but embracing a broader concept of human value, one that celebrates diversity, resilience, and creativity beyond pragmatic constraints. It invites us to redefine success on terms that honor our unique identities and pursuits, fostering a world where every individual can flourish authentically and contribute meaningfully without compromising their inherent worth. In the end, breaking free from indispensability is not about becoming useless, but rather reclaiming your humanity, your capacity for joy, creativity, and true connection beyond mere utility. It's an invitation to live fully with purpose, but on your own terms. Throughout history, countless individuals have fallen into the trap of indispensability, often driven by societal expectations and personal insecurities. The Industrial Revolution, for instance, ushered in an era where efficiency and productivity became paramount, leading many to equate self-worth with their contribution to production lines and corporate hierarchies. This mindset not only devalued human creativity, but also stifled innovation, as individuals were often too consumed by the immediate demands of their roles to explore new ideas or perspectives. In more recent times, the rise of digital technology has exacerbated this issue, creating an always-on culture where constant availability is seen as a badge of honor. This hyperconnectivity can lead to burnout and diminished quality of life, as people struggle to disengage from work-related tasks even when off-duty. The pressure to be continuously available and productive can erode personal boundaries and reduce the time for meaningful pursuits outside of professional duties. Breaking free from this trap requires a conscious effort to redefine one's relationship with work and self-worth. One effective approach is cultivating a practice of mindfulness, which encourages individuals to be present in their lives rather than constantly planning or stressing about future responsibilities. Mindfulness helps in recognizing the value of rest, recreation, and personal interests, activities that are often sidelined when striving for indispensability. Another crucial step involves reevaluating one's career choices based on intrinsic motivation, rather than external validation or financial gain alone. This means seeking roles that align with personal passions and ethical values, regardless of whether these positions are traditionally seen as vital within an organization. Such a shift can lead to greater job satisfaction and a sense of purpose beyond the mere mechanics of work. Moreover, building a support network that encourages authenticity and personal growth is essential. This could involve colleagues who understand and respect each other's need for balance, or joining communities focused on self-improvement and well-being. These connections provide a safety net where individuals can share their struggles and successes without fear of judgment, reinforcing the idea that vulnerability and imperfection are strengths rather than weaknesses. The implications of rejecting indispensability extend beyond personal fulfillment to broader societal impacts. When individuals prioritize their holistic well-being over relentless productivity, they contribute to a cultural shift towards valuing human potential in its fullest expression. This can lead to more innovative thinking, increased job satisfaction across industries, and a reduction in workplace-related mental health issues. In conclusion, transcending the notion of indispensability is not merely an act of self-care, but also a revolutionary stance against a culture that undervalues creativity and diversity. By embracing this paradigm shift, individuals can lead more fulfilling lives while contributing to a healthier, more balanced society. The tyranny of being useful begins to reveal itself when we start questioning the pride and validation we derive from our utility. In society, there's an unspoken hierarchy where those who are deemed indispensable carry a badge of honor. However, this perception is deceptive. When you identify solely as a resource, be it in your professional life or personal relationships, you become nothing more than a cog in the machine, subject to its whims and demands. Being useful often means being exploited. Your skills, expertise, and even your presence are leveraged by others for their benefit, at times to the detriment of your own well-being. The moment you are no longer useful, society often deems you dispensable or obsolete. This dynamic creates a profound internal void, because it leaves little room for self-expression beyond what is deemed productive. To understand this concept deeply, let's delve into how societal norms shape our perceptions of usefulness and value. Historically, societies have revered those who contribute to the collective good through tangible means: builders, farmers, soldiers, innovators. However, as we've evolved, so too has the definition of usefulness. In modern times, there is an increasing emphasis on productivity, efficiency, and measurable output in both professional and personal spheres. This shift towards a utilitarian worldview can be traced back to the Industrial Revolution, when mass production and economic growth became paramount. As capitalism took hold, people began equating value with utility, a philosophy that persists today. This paradigm has fostered an environment where being useful is synonymous with having worth or importance. In philosophical terms, existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre and Albert Camus explored the absurdity of existence within a deterministic worldview. They argued that finding meaning in one's life isn't about serving external demands, but rather pursuing authentic self-exploration and freedom from societal constraints. This perspective challenges the notion that usefulness equates to purpose or fulfillment. The paradox lies in how this emphasis on utility can actually undermine true human potential. When you are always seeking ways to be useful, you're often caught in a cycle of serving others' needs at the expense of your own desires and well-being. This dynamic creates an internal void because it leaves little space for personal growth, reflection, or joy outside of what is deemed productive. To illustrate this point, consider the story of Maria, a high-achieving professional who felt immense pressure to excel in her career. She worked long hours, took on extra responsibilities, and constantly sought opportunities to prove her value. Despite her success, she felt increasingly hollow inside, as if something was missing from her life. The more useful Maria became, the less fulfilled she felt. This phenomenon isn't unique to Maria. It's a common experience for many who have internalized the notion that their worth is tied to their utility. Moreover, this relentless pursuit of usefulness can lead to burnout and mental health issues. When you define yourself by your productivity, every moment not spent working or being useful feels like wasted time. This mindset robs individuals of opportunities for self-care, leisure activities, and meaningful connections with others. In contrast, consider the life of a philosopher, artist, or writer who dedicates their days to pursuits that may not be immediately useful but enrich humanity in profound ways. These creative endeavors often require time, patience, and introspection, qualities undervalued by productivity-driven cultures. Yet, they contribute immensely to our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Ultimately, the idea that your usefulness is the root cause of your internal void challenges conventional wisdom about success and fulfillment. It suggests that true contentment lies not in being indispensable, but in embracing your own uselessness. By stepping out of the role of a resource to be managed and mined for utility, you reclaim your humanity and begin living as an individual rather than a cog in someone else's machine. In practical terms, this shift might mean setting boundaries at work or refusing projects that drain your energy. It could also involve prioritizing personal interests, hobbies, and relationships over relentless productivity. The more you let go of the need to be useful, the closer you come to experiencing a sense of fulfillment that is not tied to external validation. This transformative journey is challenging because it requires breaking free from deeply ingrained societal norms and personal expectations. Yet the reward is immense, living authentically without fear of obsolescence or abandonment when your utility diminishes. In conclusion, embracing uselessness is an act of liberation that restores our humanity by freeing us from the constraints imposed by usefulness. It invites us to redefine success on terms that honor personal fulfillment and creativity, rather than external metrics of productivity and efficiency. Historically, societies have placed significant value on utility and productivity as indicators of one's worth. The Industrial Revolution marked a turning point where individuals were increasingly seen as resources to be optimized for maximum output. This shift in societal perception has deepened over time with the rise of digital technologies that further reinforce the notion that constant availability and performance are essential traits. The philosopher Martin Heidegger offers insight into this phenomenon through his critique of technology, noting how modern tech tends to reduce humans to mere data points or inputs in a larger system. In such systems, individuals become interchangeable parts, whose value is directly tied to their function within the machine. This perspective echoes the concept discussed here, that the relentless pursuit of usefulness strips away one's inherent humanity and uniqueness. One lesser-known aspect worth exploring is how different cultures have historically viewed uselessness. For instance, in many Eastern philosophies, such as Taoism and Zen Buddhism, embracing the impermanence and inefficacy of things is seen not just as a spiritual practice, but also as a path to enlightenment. These traditions advocate for living in harmony with nature and rejecting societal constructs that impose utility and productivity as measures of worth. This contrasts sharply with Western thought, which often prioritizes efficiency and functionality over existential contemplation. The implications of adopting uselessness as a core value are profound. On an individual level, it can lead to greater self-awareness and personal growth by encouraging introspection rather than external validation. It fosters resilience against societal pressures that may otherwise cause stress or anxiety related to one's perceived lack of utility in the workforce or society at large. Moreover, this shift has significant social implications as well. If more individuals begin to value their inherent worth beyond productivity metrics, it could contribute to a broader cultural transformation toward valuing diversity and individuality. This would challenge institutions that rely on uniform standards for success and efficiency potentially leading to new paradigms in education, healthcare, and workplace environments. Practically speaking, embracing uselessness does not mean abandoning all responsibilities or ceasing to contribute meaningfully to society. Instead, it involves striking a balance between fulfilling one's duties without losing sight of personal well-being and happiness. For example, someone might choose to work part-time while dedicating time to creative pursuits that offer intrinsic satisfaction rather than extrinsic rewards like promotions or salary increases. In essence, the concept of uselessness is a call to question deeply ingrained beliefs about success and value in our modern society. It invites us to redefine what it means to live authentically and find fulfillment without succumbing to the pressures of perpetual utility. The prophet of the Spirit imagine a world where the pursuit of knowledge and wisdom is not measured by its immediate utility or profitability. This is the core argument put forth by Nuccio Ordine, who challenges us to reconsider what we value in our lives. In a society obsessed with efficiency and productivity, the idea that useless pursuits such as philosophy, art, and pure thought can actually be more valuable than tangible achievements seems counterintuitive. Ordine's perspective is rooted in a deep understanding of human nature and our intrinsic need for meaning beyond what can be quantified. He asserts that the true essence of being human lies not in what we do or how much we produce, but rather in the experiences and knowledge we accumulate through non-utilitarian means. This useless knowledge, often dismissed as impractical, is actually essential to our identity and sense of self-worth. Consider, for a moment, the life of a philosopher like Socrates, who dedicated his days to questioning societal norms and engaging in dialogue with others. His contributions were not immediately profitable or productive in any traditional sense, yet they have left an indelible mark on Western thought. Similarly, the works of great artists such as Vincent van Gogh or Frida Kahlo have been deemed worthless during their lifetimes, but are now revered for their profound emotional and aesthetic impact. This is not to say that practical skills and knowledge aren't important. Indeed, they form the foundation upon which we build our lives. However, Ordine argues that without the enrichment provided by useless pursuits, we risk becoming mere cogs in a machine, devoid of soul and spirit. The relentless pursuit of utility can strip us of our humanity, leaving us hollow and unsatisfied despite our accomplishments. The distinction between bankable skills and eternal ones is crucial to understanding this concept. Bankable skills are those that have immediate value in the marketplace: programming languages, financial analysis, or marketing strategies. These skills can secure jobs, increase salaries, and provide a sense of security in an ever-changing economy. Eternal skills, on the other hand, encompass knowledge and experiences that do not have a direct monetary value but enrich our lives immeasurably. Eternal skills might include understanding ancient philosophy, mastering a musical instrument, or engaging deeply with literature. These pursuits may not yield tangible results in the short term, yet they contribute to our personal growth, foster creativity, and enhance our ability to connect with others on a deeper level. They nourish the spirit in ways that practical knowledge cannot. Moreover, Ordine emphasizes that by solely focusing on bankable skills, we neglect the parts of ourselves that cannot be quantified or commoditized. We starve our souls when we prioritize efficiency over depth and breadth of experience. This imbalance leads to a sense of emptiness and dissatisfaction as we strive relentlessly for external validation while ignoring the internal yearnings that drive us. The paradox lies in recognizing that it is precisely these useless pursuits that preserve our humanity. They provide meaning and context to our lives beyond mere survival or economic productivity. In embracing these pursuits, we reclaim a sense of freedom and autonomy from societal pressures to conform to rigid definitions of success. For instance, someone might choose to work part-time while dedicating time to creative endeavors such as painting, writing poetry, or exploring complex philosophical ideas. While this approach may not maximize their earning potential in the short term, it enriches their life immeasurably. They find intrinsic satisfaction and joy that cannot be derived from material achievements alone. Ordine's philosophy invites us to challenge our assumptions about what constitutes value in our lives. It encourages us to question the relentless pursuit of utility and productivity at all costs. By embracing useless knowledge, we can cultivate a deeper understanding of ourselves and others, fostering connections that transcend the limitations imposed by economic considerations. In conclusion, the things that have no price are indeed those with the most profound value. While it is important to acquire practical skills for survival and success in today's world, neglecting the useless aspects of life robs us of our humanity and inner fulfillment. Embracing these pursuits not only enriches our lives, but also preserves the integrity of who we are as individuals. Exploring the historical context of this philosophy, it becomes clear that the concept of valuing non-utility has deep roots throughout human history. Ancient philosophers like Plato and Aristotle pondered about the nature of happiness and well-being beyond material gains. In the Renaissance era, figures such as Leonardo da Vinci exemplified the ideal of a polymath, whose interests spanned far beyond practical applications to include art, science, literature, and philosophy. This holistic approach to life was seen as vital for personal fulfillment and societal progress. In modern times, economists like Amartya Sen have challenged traditional notions of utility maximization by emphasizing capabilities and freedoms that go beyond economic measures. For instance, the concept of gross national happiness in Bhutan places equal importance on spiritual, psychological, and cultural well-being alongside economic prosperity. This holistic view reflects a recognition that true human development is not solely measured by economic indicators, but includes subjective experiences and intangible aspects of life. Another compelling example can be found in the lives of many artists who have pursued their passions, despite societal pressures to prioritize more practical careers. Take the case of Vincent van Gogh, who struggled financially throughout his lifetime, but devoted himself entirely to painting. His work, though initially unsuccessful, has come to define a significant period of art history and continues to inspire countless individuals around the world. Van Gogh's story is emblematic of how embracing useless pursuits can lead to profound contributions that resonate far beyond one's immediate lifespan. Furthermore, engaging in seemingly useless activities often fosters creativity and innovation by encouraging divergent thinking. When people are not confined to narrowly defined objectives, they're more likely to explore novel ideas and make unexpected connections. For example, many scientific breakthroughs have occurred when researchers took time away from their usual work to pursue unrelated interests or engage in conversations outside of their specialized fields. Beyond personal fulfillment, embracing non-utility also has broader social implications. Societies that value diverse forms of human expression tend to be more resilient and adaptable. When individuals feel free to explore varied interests, they develop a richer understanding of the world and are better equipped to address complex challenges. This holistic approach to life can contribute to stronger communities where people support each other in their various endeavors. Moreover, there is growing evidence from psychological research suggesting that engaging in meaningful activities, often those considered useless by societal standards, can lead to greater happiness and well-being. For instance, studies have shown that pursuing creative hobbies or spending time on spiritual practices can significantly reduce stress levels and increase feelings of contentment. These findings underscore the importance of integrating non-utilitarian pursuits into our daily lives. However, it is important to acknowledge potential challenges in adopting this philosophy. In a world where success is often measured by economic metrics, there may be social pressure to conform to more practical paths. Balancing these expectations while pursuing meaningful but less tangible goals requires courage and resilience. Additionally, the financial instability associated with non-utilitarian pursuits can be daunting for many individuals. To address these challenges, it becomes crucial to advocate for systemic changes that support a broader range of human values beyond economic productivity. This could involve reforming educational systems to place greater emphasis on creativity, critical thinking, and emotional intelligence alongside traditional subjects. It may also mean developing social safety nets that provide financial security for those who choose to pursue less conventional but personally fulfilling paths. In summary, embracing the useless aspects of life is not a rejection of practicality, but rather an expansion of our understanding of what truly matters. By valuing diverse forms of human expression and intellectual curiosity, we enrich both individual lives and society as a whole. The prophet of the spirit imagines standing at the crossroads between two paths. One leads to immediate gain, practical skills that secure your place in society, and tangible benefits like job security and financial stability. This path is well lit, trodden by millions who have successfully navigated its twists and turns. The other path is shrouded in mist, leading to uncharted territories of philosophy, art, and pure thought, domains often dismissed as impractical or frivolous. This dichotomy between the bankable skills and the eternal ones lies at the heart of Nuccio Ordine's argument. He challenges us to reconsider what we truly value in life. For centuries, societies have prioritized practical knowledge over abstract thought. Think of the Industrial Revolution, where mechanical skill and innovation drove economic growth. Or consider today's emphasis on STEM education, where science, technology, engineering, and mathematics are promoted as essential for national competitiveness. But amidst this glorification of useful knowledge, a critical question emerges. At what cost do we measure success? Does the relentless pursuit of tangible benefits come at the expense of our humanity? As Ordine argues, it is precisely these non-practical forms of inquiry that preserve our essence as human beings. Philosophy teaches us to question, to reflect deeply on the nature of existence and morality. Art allows for emotional expression, creativity, and a connection with the sublime. Ordine's perspective aligns with historical figures like Friedrich Nietzsche and Jean-Paul Sartre, who emphasize the importance of existential questioning. They believe that true freedom lies in understanding oneself beyond societal constraints. Similarly, artists throughout history have sought to transcend practical limitations by exploring realms where imagination reigns supreme. For instance, Marcel Duchamp's fountain, a porcelain urinal submitted as art, challenged conventional definitions and sparked debates about the nature of creativity itself. But why should we care? The immediate answer might be that these pursuits offer no direct financial gain or career advancement. Yet, Ordine argues that this short-sighted view misses the profound impact such activities have on our inner lives. Engaging with philosophy can provide a sense of purpose and meaning that goes beyond monetary rewards. It fosters critical thinking and resilience in the face of existential challenges. Art, too, serves as a sanctuary from the utilitarian world. Consider the transformative power of music or literature, how they can evoke deep emotions and inspire personal growth. Even seemingly esoteric subjects like metaphysics offer insights into the fabric of reality that practical skills cannot address. These pursuits are not wasteful. Rather, they enrich our lives in ways that traditional metrics cannot measure. Moreover, Ordine points out that neglecting these useless domains can lead to societal stagnation. When creativity and curiosity are stifled, innovation suffers. Historical periods marked by cultural flourishing often coincided with significant scientific breakthroughs. The Renaissance is a prime example, where advancements in art and science fueled one another. Without the philosophical underpinnings of humanism, many of the era's most influential thinkers might not have flourished. So why do we persist in undervaluing these domains? One reason lies in our education systems, which often prioritize practical skills over liberal arts. This focus can be traced back to industrialization and the subsequent rise of technocratic thinking. But as societies evolve, so too must their values. We need to recognize that true progress is not solely measured by economic output or technological advancement, but also by cultural vibrancy and intellectual depth. By embracing the useless aspects of life, philosophy, art, pure thought, we enrich both individual lives and society as a whole. Each person's unique expression contributes to a tapestry of diversity and creativity. When we value diverse forms of human expression, we foster an environment where innovation thrives and individuals can pursue their passions without fear. In essence, the useless knowledge that Ordine champions is not merely idle speculation, but a source of profound insight and inspiration. It challenges us to think beyond immediate utility and embrace the full spectrum of what it means to be human. By doing so, we preserve our humanity in an increasingly utilitarian world. As we move forward, let us remember that valuing these useless pursuits is not a rejection of practicality, but an expansion of our understanding of what truly matters. It is through this balance between the pragmatic and the abstract that we can achieve true fulfillment. Throughout history, civilizations that have prioritized the arts and humanities over practical skills have often thrived culturally and intellectually. The Renaissance period, for instance, was marked by an explosion of creativity across various fields such as art, literature, music, and philosophy. Figures like Leonardo da Vinci exemplified this balance between technical prowess and creative imagination. Da Vinci's polymathic approach did not just contribute to the practical advancement of science and engineering, but also deeply influenced contemporary thought through his philosophical writings and artistic creations. In more recent times, consider the impact of abstract art movements such as Cubism or Surrealism. These forms of expression challenged societal norms and conventions, leading to new ways of perceiving reality. Marcel Duchamp's Fountain, a urinal presented as an artwork in 1917, questioned traditional definitions of what constitutes art itself. Such radical gestures not only paved the way for future artistic innovations, but also reflected broader social changes and critiques of established power structures. The value of less tangible intellectual pursuits extends beyond individual creativity to societal cohesion and resilience. During World War II, writers, artists, and musicians played a crucial role in maintaining morale and cultural identity amidst chaos and destruction. For instance, the work of authors like George Orwell and Albert Camus provided profound reflections on human nature, resistance, and freedom that resonated far beyond their immediate contexts. Today, as we face unprecedented challenges ranging from climate change to social inequality, the need for diverse perspectives has never been greater. The arts and humanities offer unique tools for understanding complex issues by encouraging empathy, critical thinking, and imaginative solutions. For example, storytelling through literature or visual media can help bridge cultural divides and foster mutual understanding across different communities. Furthermore, advancements in fields like artificial intelligence pose new ethical dilemmas that require philosophical inquiry rather than merely technical fixes. Questions about AI ethics, autonomy, and responsibility cannot be fully addressed without drawing on centuries of humanistic thought regarding morality, justice, and the nature of consciousness. Despite these benefits, there remains a persistent bias in many contemporary educational systems against subjects perceived as non-essential or impractical. This bias stems from a narrow view of success, measured primarily by economic indicators such as job market readiness or financial gain. However, numerous studies have shown that individuals with liberal arts backgrounds often exhibit greater adaptability and resilience in the face of changing career landscapes, due to their ability to think critically about complex problems. Moreover, recent trends indicate a growing recognition of the importance of interdisciplinary approaches to problem solving. Fields like bioethics, environmental humanities, and digital humanities are emerging as critical domains where knowledge from traditionally distinct areas converges to address contemporary challenges effectively. In conclusion, while practical skills remain indispensable for personal success and societal progress, embracing the useless knowledge that nourishes our souls and minds is equally essential. By valuing diverse forms of human expression and fostering environments conducive to creative exploration, we lay the foundation for a richer, more resilient future. In a world driven by efficiency and productivity, there exists an invisible toll paid for our relentless pursuit of utility. We are taught from a young age to value skills that can be quantified, skills that yield tangible results, metrics that measure success. This paradigm creates a society where being useful is synonymous with having worth. Yet in this framework, the very essence of what makes us human is often forgotten. The philosopher Nuccio Ordine argues that it's precisely our useless knowledge, philosophy, art, and pure thought that preserves our humanity. These domains of inquiry are not merely frivolous pursuits. They embody the aspects of ourselves that cannot be commodified or reduced to a paycheck. When we embrace these realms, we reconnect with the parts of us that seek meaning beyond mere functionality. Historically, societies have oscillated between valuing practical knowledge and useless knowledge. During the Renaissance, the convergence of arts and sciences fostered an environment where creativity flourished alongside innovation. However, as industrialization took hold, the balance shifted towards efficiency and productivity, marginalizing disciplines like philosophy and literature in favor of more economically viable fields such as engineering and finance. This shift has significant implications for individual well-being. When we solely pursue skills that are bankable, we neglect the nourishment of our spirit. The relentless pursuit of utility leaves little room for reflection, contemplation, or creative expression, activities that enrich our lives but cannot be measured in dollars. This spiritual starvation manifests as a sense of emptiness even when we achieve outward success. Consider the life of Vincent van Gogh. His paintings are now considered some of the most valuable artworks in history. Yet during his lifetime, he struggled to make ends meet and was largely unrecognized for his artistic contributions. Van Gogh's relentless dedication to expressing his inner world, despite societal pressures to conform to more profitable pursuits, exemplifies the value of useless knowledge. Through his work, we see a profound exploration of human emotions and experiences that transcend monetary value. Similarly, in literature, writers such as Virginia Woolf and James Joyce pushed against conventional boundaries by exploring complex narratives and inner monologues. Their works, which might seem impractical from an economic standpoint, have left an enduring legacy that enriches our cultural landscape far beyond the confines of marketability. The contrast between practical skills and useless knowledge extends to personal relationships as well. In a culture dominated by productivity metrics, genuine connections can suffer. We find ourselves trading meaningful conversations for efficient communication tools like emails or text messages. This substitution robs us of the depth and richness that come from face-to-face interactions, which are inherently inefficient but invaluable. Moreover, in our pursuit of productivity, we often overlook the importance of leisure and rest. The concept of a weekend was created to provide respite from the demands of labor. Yet even in this brief span of time, many feel compelled to engage in activities that further their utility, whether through continuous education or professional networking events. This relentless focus on use value leaves little room for genuine relaxation and personal growth. Nuccio Ordine's argument extends beyond individual well-being to societal health as a whole. A society that values only practical knowledge risks becoming intellectually stagnant, failing to address complex challenges that require interdisciplinary thinking and creative solutions. By embracing useless knowledge, we foster an environment where diverse perspectives converge, leading to innovations and insights that cannot be predicted or planned for. In conclusion, while the pursuit of practical skills is essential for personal success and societal progress, it must coexist with a commitment to useless knowledge. This balance nourishes our spirits, enriches cultural heritage, and cultivates resilience in the face of complex challenges. By valuing diverse forms of human expression, we lay the foundation for a richer, more resilient future, one where both efficiency and soulful depth thrive together. Throughout history, societies that have placed high value on useless knowledge, often labeled as liberal arts or humanities, have seen remarkable cultural and intellectual advancements. Ancient Greece is a prime example where philosophers like Socrates and Plato engaged in abstract discussions about ethics, politics, and metaphysics, which might appear irrelevant to everyday life at the time. However, these explorations laid the groundwork for Western civilization's foundational principles of democracy, law, and scientific inquiry. The Renaissance further illustrates this point. As artists and thinkers such as Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo pursued knowledge in fields ranging from mathematics to anatomy to art, contributing not only to their respective disciplines, but also to a broader cultural renaissance. In the modern era, the benefits of interdisciplinary thinking have become increasingly evident. Fields like artificial intelligence often require expertise spanning computer science, philosophy, ethics, and even literature to address the complex issues surrounding AI's impact on society. For instance, philosophers are crucial in discussing questions about machine consciousness, while sociologists can help predict how AI might change social structures. Without a holistic approach that includes useless knowledge, these discussions would be incomplete. Moreover, countries like Finland have implemented educational reforms emphasizing creativity and critical thinking over rote learning and standardized testing. The result is not only higher student engagement, but also better performance in global assessments. This shift reflects a growing recognition of the importance of fostering curiosity and intellectual exploration, rather than merely imparting practical skills. However, the rise of digital technology has intensified the pressure to prioritize immediate utility over long-term cultural enrichment. Social media platforms often reward content that generates quick engagement metrics, likes, shares, comments, thus shaping user behavior towards seeking easily digestible information or entertainment with little lasting value. This dynamic reinforces a culture where superficial knowledge gains precedence over deeper understanding and reflection. Furthermore, the shift from traditional industries to knowledge-based economies has led some to question the relevance of useless knowledge in professional contexts. However, as workplaces evolve toward more collaborative and innovation-driven environments, soft skills such as empathy, creativity, and adaptability become increasingly important. These qualities often stem from a broad education that includes humanities and arts, demonstrating how seemingly irrelevant disciplines can indirectly contribute significantly to career success. The concept of useless knowledge also plays a crucial role in personal development and mental health. Engaging with literature, philosophy, or fine arts provides individuals with alternative perspectives and emotional outlets, enhancing their resilience against life's challenges. For example, discussing existential questions through philosophical texts can offer solace and clarity during times of uncertainty or crisis. In education systems worldwide, there is a growing movement advocating for the integration of liberal arts and sciences to promote holistic learning experiences. Initiatives like STEAM aim to bridge the gap between practical skills and creative thinking by incorporating artistic elements into traditionally technical fields. Such approaches not only enrich educational curricula, but also equip students with a broader skill set necessary for addressing complex real-world problems. In conclusion, while the pursuit of productivity is undeniably important in modern society, it should not come at the expense of embracing useless knowledge. By valuing diverse forms of human expression and intellectual inquiry, we can foster a culture that encourages creativity, resilience, and interdisciplinary thinking, essential qualities for navigating an increasingly complex world. The concept of productivity has been drilled into our minds since childhood, shaping us to believe that every moment must be filled with purpose and action. We are taught to equate value with utility, and the idea of doing nothing is often met with guilt or self-doubt. But what if we were to challenge this notion? What if there was dignity in the non-productive? In ancient Greece, philosophers like Plato and Aristotle engaged in long periods of contemplation, discussing abstract ideas that seemed irrelevant to everyday life. Yet, these discussions laid the foundation for Western philosophy and had profound impacts on subsequent generations. The Renaissance period saw artists like Leonardo da Vinci pursuing both scientific inquiry and artistic expression, often with little immediate practical application. His drawings and notebooks filled with sketches of flying machines and anatomical studies were more a testament to his curiosity than any direct productivity. Silence and stillness are not mere absences, but rather active states that require discipline and courage. When you embrace the non-productive, you step away from the relentless pursuit of output and achievement. You move into a space where your mind can wander freely, where new ideas can emerge unbidden by external pressures or expectations. This is where creativity flourishes, where connections are made between disparate pieces of knowledge. The philosopher Søren Kierkegaard once wrote about the sickness unto death in modern life, which he described as a state of anxiety and despair brought on by living under the guise of being productive all the time. He argued that this constant striving for efficiency can rob us of our individuality and strip away any sense of wonder or mystery in the world around us. In contemporary society, we measure success largely through metrics such as income, career advancement, and social status. These indicators are tied closely to productivity, but often at the expense of personal fulfillment and happiness. The pressure to always be producing something tangible can leave little room for reflection and self-discovery. We may achieve great things in terms of what society values, yet feel hollow inside. The idea of non-productivity as a form of resistance against this system is gaining traction among younger generations who are questioning traditional notions of work and success. They are advocating for more flexible schedules, remote working options, and the inclusion of mental health days into their routines. This shift reflects a broader movement towards valuing well-being over constant output. When we choose to engage in activities that have no immediate practical benefit, be it reading literature, painting abstract art, or contemplating philosophical questions, we are engaging with aspects of ourselves that cannot be quantified or commodified. These pursuits enrich our lives in ways that direct productivity often fails to do. Efficiency is often touted as the ultimate virtue in modern society, but this relentless drive can lead us down a path where we become slaves to our schedules and tasks lists. We lose sight of what truly matters: connection with others, personal growth, joy, and instead focus on checkboxes that mark off days rather than lives lived fully. The act of doing nothing is not about laziness or apathy. It's about reclaiming time for ourselves. It's about recognizing that sometimes the most valuable moments are those where we simply exist without striving to create something tangible in return. In these quiet moments, our minds can relax and begin the process of healing from the constant bombardment of information and stimuli. In a world obsessed with productivity, embracing non-productivity is an act of rebellion against the status quo. It's about reclaiming control over how we spend our time and what we choose to prioritize in life. By valuing activities that have no price but immense value, we affirm our humanity and reaffirm our connection to the world around us on a deeper level. Silence and stillness are not just pauses between actions. They are essential components of living a rich and meaningful life. When you stop being useful in the conventional sense, you give yourself permission to explore who you truly are beyond your roles and responsibilities. You open up space for reflection, creativity, and personal growth. Efficiency is often a psychological weapon used against us. encouraging us to squeeze every last drop of productivity from our days while leaving no room for serendipity or joy. But true fulfillment lies in finding balance between action and rest, knowing when it's time to push forward with purpose and when it's essential to simply be. The dignity of the non-productive is about reclaiming our autonomy from a system that measures worth solely through productivity. It's about recognizing that there is inherent value in every moment we live, whether or not we are creating something tangible in return. When you embrace this concept fully, you free yourself from fear and open up to new possibilities. The dignity of the non-productive is about reclaiming our autonomy from a system that measures worth solely through productivity. It's about recognizing that there is inherent value in every moment we live, whether or not we are creating something tangible in return. When you embrace this concept fully, you free yourself from fear and open up to new possibilities. Silence and stillness have long been maligned as the antithesis of progress and growth. In a world where efficiency is king and constant movement is seen as a mark of success, there's little room for the quiet moments that nourish our souls. Yet this perspective overlooks a fundamental truth. True presence lies not in ceaseless action, but in embracing the void. From ancient traditions like Buddhism to modern contemplative practices such as meditation, the concept of non-productivity has been revered as a path to enlightenment and inner peace. The idea that stillness is the highest form of activity challenges our conventional understanding of what it means to live a meaningful life. In the early 20th century, philosophers like Martin Heidegger pondered the nature of being in the world. For him, authenticity lay not in pursuing endless goals, but in experiencing each moment with full awareness. This radical idea suggested that true value arises from our capacity to be present, rather than constantly striving for something more. But why is it so hard for us to accept silence and stillness as valuable? One reason lies in the psychological conditioning we receive throughout life. From childhood, we are taught that success equates to doing something, whether it's excelling academically, achieving career milestones, or reaching personal goals. This relentless pursuit of accomplishment often leaves little room for restorative practices like meditation or simply being. In our modern society, the concept of productivity has become intertwined with self-worth. We measure success by what we produce and how much we can achieve within a given time frame. Yet this focus on output neglects the intangible aspects of life that contribute to our well-being, our emotional state, our relationships, and even the moments when we do nothing. This pressure to be constantly productive can lead to burnout, anxiety, and a sense of disconnection from ourselves and others. The irony is that many of us know intuitively that periods of stillness are essential for renewal and clarity. But because these moments don't produce immediate results or tangible achievements, they are often dismissed as unproductive or wasteful. To truly understand the value of silence and stillness, we need to shift our perspective on what it means to be productive. Productivity is not just about output, it's also about input, what we take in through reflection, contemplation, and quiet introspection. When we prioritize these quieter moments, we create space for new ideas, insights, and personal growth. Consider the life of writer Henry David Thoreau. In his famous work Walden, he described a period spent living alone in the woods to simplify his life and explore fundamental questions about existence. This retreat from society was not idle laziness, but a profound act of self-discovery and reflection that yielded lasting insights into human nature. In contemporary contexts, many high-achieving individuals have come to recognize the importance of non-productive activities for their well-being and creativity. Elon Musk, founder of SpaceX and Tesla, has spoken openly about his need for a lot of time alone to recharge and think deeply about complex problems. Similarly, tech entrepreneur Gary Vaynerchuk emphasizes the value of taking breaks from constant connectivity to regain focus and mental clarity. The concept of non-productivity extends beyond personal well-being to broader societal implications as well. In an era marked by rapid technological advancements and increasing automation, there's growing concern about the loss of human connection and meaningful experiences. By valuing stillness and silence, we can counteract this trend and foster a culture that celebrates authenticity over mere efficiency. Silence and stillness are not idle pursuits. They are essential components of a balanced life. They offer us opportunities to reconnect with our inner selves, reflect on our values, and cultivate empathy for others. When we embrace these moments without judgment or guilt, we begin to see them as valuable in their own right. The next time you find yourself amidst a busy schedule, consider carving out space for stillness. Whether it's taking a walk alone, meditating quietly, or simply sitting in silence, these actions are not wasteful but essential for your growth and well-being. By doing so, you affirm the dignity of the non-productive and assert your autonomy from the relentless pursuit of productivity. In embracing this new perspective, we unlock a deeper sense of fulfillment and purpose. We learn to appreciate the inherent value in every moment, whether it's spent creating or simply being, and find our true selves in the quiet spaces where progress is not measured but experienced. Efficiency has long been hailed as the cornerstone of modern life, promising us that every second counts and every action must yield tangible results. But beneath this mantra lies a hidden tyranny. Efficiency is not just a measure of productivity, but a psychological weapon designed to keep us perpetually in motion, always striving for more without ever truly living. Nuccio Ordine challenges the conventional wisdom surrounding efficiency by revealing its dark underbelly, the erosion of our autonomy, and the stifling of our true essence. When we are efficient, we are not just completing tasks. We are being managed, optimized, and ultimately controlled by an unseen force that demands constant output. The notion of efficiency is deeply rooted in capitalist ideology, where time is money and every moment must be leveraged for profit. This mindset has infiltrated our personal lives as well, turning leisure and downtime into opportunities missed rather than moments to cherish. We are taught from a young age to fill every gap with productivity, leaving no room for the spontaneous or the unplanned. Consider the historical context of efficiency in industry. The Industrial Revolution marked the beginning of the assembly line and mass production techniques, which sought to maximize output through meticulous planning and rigid structure. This same logic has now permeated all aspects of society, from education to personal development, convincing us that every action must be purposeful and goal-oriented. Yet, this relentless drive for efficiency can lead to profound disconnection. We sacrifice our creativity, intuition, and spontaneity in favor of a narrow definition of success measured by productivity metrics rather than human flourishing. The irony is stark. While we strive to optimize every aspect of life, we miss the very essence of what makes us human. Ordine argues that efficiency robs us of our dignity and undermines our sense of self-worth. When we measure ourselves solely against the yardstick of productivity, we become mere cogs in a vast machine, each one replaceable and expendable as soon as they are no longer efficient. This is not just a critique of work culture, but an indictment of a worldview that values utility over humanity. The psychological impact of this efficiency-driven mindset cannot be overstated. Chronic stress, burnout, and existential dread are commonplace in societies, where every moment must yield results. The constant pressure to produce more leads us down a path of diminishing returns, where the harder we try to be efficient, the further we move from contentment. The paradox lies in our willingness to sacrifice moments of silence, reflection, and rest for the sake of progress. We are taught that downtime is wasteful, that stillness equates to idleness. But it is precisely in these quiet interludes that we reconnect with ourselves, tap into deeper levels of creativity, and cultivate a sense of inner peace. Silence and stillness are often dismissed as a lack of action, but they represent the highest form of presence. When we truly embrace the value of non-productivity, we reclaim our autonomy from the machine-like demands of efficiency. It is in these moments that we rediscover the richness of human experience that cannot be quantified or commoditized. Consider the example of artists and philosophers who have long celebrated the value of idleness. From the Romantic poets to modern-day creatives, there is a rich tradition of valuing contemplation over constant action. These individuals recognize that true innovation often emerges from periods of reflection, not ceaseless productivity. By embracing non-productivity, they assert their humanity in the face of efficiency's demands. The pursuit of efficiency has also led to the erosion of community and connection. In our quest for individual achievement, we neglect the social bonds that give life meaning and purpose. We are isolated from one another by a shared commitment to productivity, a commitment that leaves us feeling both overworked and alone. To break free from this cycle, we must redefine success on our own terms. This means valuing the intangible aspects of life, emotional connections, personal growth, and spiritual fulfillment that cannot be measured but are essential for true happiness. By reclaiming our right to inefficiency, we affirm that being human is not about achieving a goal, but about living fully in each moment. In this chapter, we explore how the psychological weapon of efficiency has infiltrated every aspect of modern life, from work culture to personal identity, and examine its damaging effects on our well-being and sense of self. We must resist the pressure to measure every action against a productivity metric, and instead embrace moments of silence and stillness as integral parts of human existence. By rejecting the tyranny of efficiency, we reclaim our dignity and assert our autonomy from the relentless pursuit of utility. In doing so, we create space for creativity, intuition, and connection, qualities that define our humanity and bring meaning to our lives in ways that productivity alone can never achieve. The relentless pursuit of efficiency and productivity has become an epidemic in modern society, where every moment is measured against a utilitarian scale. We are conditioned to believe that the only worthwhile actions are those with tangible outcomes, achievements checked off our to-do lists, goals met, milestones reached. Yet this constant striving leaves little room for the non-purposeful acts of existence, moments of silence and stillness that nourish the spirit in ways no goal can. Philosophically, this tyranny of efficiency has deep roots. In ancient Greece, Aristotle distinguished between two types of activity, practical and theoretical. Practical activities are those aimed at achieving something tangible, a job well done, a meal prepared, a home cleaned. Theoretical activities, on the other hand, are pursuits that seek knowledge for its own sake: philosophy, art, poetry, music. These non-purposeful acts may appear frivolous in utilitarian terms, but they provide sustenance to our souls and preserve our humanity. The notion of purposeful versus non-purposeful actions has been debated throughout history. In the Middle Ages, St. Thomas Aquinas argued that contemplation was superior to action because it allowed one to gain a deeper understanding of divine truths. He believed that true virtue lay not in doing good deeds, but in contemplating God's wisdom, a pursuit without practical application, yet immensely valuable for spiritual growth. More recently, Martin Heidegger emphasized the importance of dwelling as an essential aspect of human existence. Dwelling is not about building structures or accumulating possessions. It involves a deep connection with one's environment and community. By dwelling in this sense, we cultivate a relationship with our surroundings that goes beyond mere utility. It enriches us on an existential level. The concept of non-purposeful action has also found expression through various cultural practices such as meditation, yoga, and traditional crafts like pottery or weaving. These activities require patience, focus, and a willingness to engage in repetitive tasks without immediate reward. Each brushstroke, each stitch woven into fabric, is an act of mindfulness that connects us with our inner selves. One might argue that modern society places such emphasis on productivity because it aligns with economic models where resources are valued based on their utility. The more productive you are, the greater your value to society, and thus, by extension, yourself. However, this perspective overlooks the intrinsic worth of those moments when we do nothing, when we simply exist. Silence is a powerful medium for introspection and connection with our inner worlds. In a world saturated with noise, from constant notifications on smartphones to relentless social media updates, it becomes increasingly difficult to find true silence. Yet it is precisely this silence that allows us to hear the whispers of our own thoughts, to reflect upon our experiences, and to connect with others without distraction. Stillness, too, holds immense value. The act of sitting quietly without a goal in mind can be profoundly transformative. It invites us to observe our breath, to feel our heartbeat, and to acknowledge our existence in each passing moment. This kind of stillness is not laziness or idleness. It is an active engagement with life that transcends the demands of utility. Non-purposeful actions are often viewed as a form of resistance against the machine-like efficiency of modern society. By rejecting the notion that every action must serve a practical purpose, we assert our autonomy and dignity. We reclaim time for ourselves, time to think deeply, to dream wildly, and to experience life fully rather than merely manage it. The irony is that by embracing non-purposeful actions, we may actually become more productive in meaningful ways. When we free ourselves from the constant pressure of doing something useful at every moment, we create space for creativity, innovation, and genuine human connections. The best ideas often emerge during moments when our minds are relaxed and wandering freely. In a world that values productivity above all else, non-purposeful actions can be seen as an act of rebellion, a refusal to conform to the narrow definitions of success imposed by societal expectations. By stepping away from the treadmill of utility, we open ourselves up to experiences that enrich our lives in ways no achievement ever could. Ultimately, the value of non-purposeful actions lies not in their practical outcomes, but in their ability to nourish our spirits and preserve our humanity. It reminds us that true fulfillment comes not from external achievements, but from embracing all aspects of our existence, including those moments when we simply are. Throughout history, periods of leisure and non-purposeful action have often been catalysts for profound personal and societal transformations. From ancient philosophers who engaged in long walks or idle conversations to Renaissance thinkers who spent hours contemplating nature, moments of unstructured time were crucial for contemplation and innovation. In the 19th century, romantic poets like William Wordsworth celebrated the beauty of aimless wandering as a means to reconnect with nature and find inspiration. These historical examples illustrate how non-purposeful actions can serve as powerful tools for personal growth and societal progress. In contemporary society, however, there is an increasing pressure to be constantly productive and useful. This relentless pursuit of efficiency has led to burnout, mental health issues, and a general sense of dissatisfaction with life. The digital age exacerbates this problem by providing constant distractions and demands through smartphones and social media. As we become more connected, paradoxically, we feel less fulfilled and more disconnected from our inner selves. One lesser-known aspect of non-purposeful actions is their impact on cognitive flexibility. Research suggests that taking breaks and engaging in seemingly idle activities can enhance problem-solving skills and creativity. For instance, a study by the University of California found that participants who took short naps or engaged in light, unstructured tasks performed better on subsequent creative thinking tests compared to those who remained mentally active throughout. Moreover, non-purposeful actions can foster a sense of community and social cohesion. By engaging in activities that are not driven by immediate utility, individuals often create spaces for authentic human interaction. Whether it's sharing a meal with friends without any agenda or participating in communal rituals like storytelling sessions, these moments allow people to connect on a deeper level and build stronger relationships. Another implication of embracing non-purposeful actions is the potential for redefining success and happiness in society. Traditional metrics of achievement often emphasize career advancement, financial stability, and tangible accomplishments. However, this narrow focus can overshadow other essential aspects of well-being, such as emotional satisfaction, meaningful experiences, and personal fulfillment. By valuing moments of rest and contemplation, individuals might shift their perspective towards a more holistic view of success that includes both external achievements and internal states. In conclusion, non-purposeful actions serve not only as acts of rebellion against the mechanistic nature of modern life, but also as avenues for nourishing creativity, fostering meaningful connections, enhancing cognitive functions, and redefining our understanding of well-being. Embracing these moments can lead to a richer, more fulfilling existence, where true happiness is found in the simple act of being rather than doing.